Everything that happens in the dark will always come to the light. Welcome to the light. We're shedding light today on the Reiner case and where we are at this point in time and everything that we know so far. First, let's start off with this morning. Nick Reiner was supposed to appear in court. However, that did not happen. He was not medically cleared to be transported. The jail is approximately 1 mile away from the courthouse. Nick Reiner is going to be represented by attorney Alan Jackson, who's known for many high-profile cases, most recently the Karen Reed case out of Massachusetts. Now, he has reported that this will be on a day-to-day basis once he is cleared to be transported to court. Prosecution is holding an event in about 20 minutes from when I'm recording this, so 1 p.m. Pacific time, to give us an update on the case along with the sheriff department. Let's backtrack to the night before the Reiners were found deceased in their home. The big thing is that Michelle and Rob Reiner were attending a holiday party of Conan O'Brien's along with their son, Nick. And there has been some information that's come out, reported by KTLA, about some things that guests have seen, what they heard. So let's read that and see what we find out. This news source is from KTLA, and they are saying the following. Guests attending a holiday party at Conan O'Brien's home said they recalled Nick Reiner behaving strangely and arguing with his father, Rob Reiner, during the event, which took place just one night before the famed director and his wife, Michelle, were found deceased. Rob and Nick attended the party at the late-night talk show's host's home in West Los Angeles on Saturday evening, where Nick's behavior alarmed guests. Sources identified as, quote, family friends told the Los Angeles Times. One attendee who asked not to be named told the New York Times that Rob Reiner was telling Nick his behavior was inappropriate when the two got into a shouting match. Another person at the party told the outlet that he did not witness the dispute, but said several people commented that the younger Reiner looked anxious and uncomfortable in a way that deeply unsettled them. Still, another partygoer who spoke with NBC News said Nick was also seen trying to join a conversation between former SNL cast member Bill Hader and another guest. When Hader told him that their chat was private, he stared at the comedian and stormed off, the source said. It was noted by the attendee that many people seem to be aware of Nick Reiner's history with drug abuse, which the family had discussed publicly. Another attendee said that he didn't witness the dispute, but he recognized Rob Reiner in the crowd and noticed that Nick Reiner was hovering at the fringes of the informal gathering. The guest said that he and other attendees were worried and that several people commented to Rob on Nick's behavior. It was also stated that he left many of these celebrity A-listers concerned after they got into a very loud argument. Quote, Nick was freaking everyone out, acting crazy, kept asking people if they were famous, a source told People about this party. A lifelong friend of the Reiners reported that Rob had been telling people that they're scared for Nick and scared that his mental state was deteriorating. Nick was supposedly off drugs, but then talk surfaced that he was, quote, not so much off of them, the neighbor said, explaining that at the accused killer's son's lowest point of the years, he was, quote, badly addicted to a combo of opiates and heroin. Another friend of the family noted, quote, I know the parents wanted him to get help, go to rehab, but he wanted to get help while at home. He did not want to get treatment at a facility. And I also heard this exact statement from Nick in one of his podcasts from around 2018, where he was stating that he figured out, essentially in a manipulation type of way, he didn't like the facility he was at in Maine, and he kind of figured out if he wanted to get out of there, he just had to be on his best behavior, get sober, and then he would eventually be able to leave and just go back home and do whatever he wanted to do. He wanted to take care of things at home and just go back to that. But he knew in order to get out of there, he needed to just kind of sober up, behave, follow everything so that he could leave as soon as possible. And apparently, with Nick's frequent rehab stints, with at least 17 under his belt, this was a frequent argument in the home between Nick and Rob and Michelle about trying to get him help and how he didn't want to go to these facilities. He wanted to do it at home. It just was something that was constant in their life, this battle of trying to get Nick help. But Nick had terms that he wanted to do it on, and that didn't seem to be working. Just a little bit ago, there was actually another big public argument between Nick and his father, where Nick began screaming at Rob in front of other diners at Giorgio Baldi restaurant in Santa Monica Canyon, where a worker confirmed by speaking with the Post. Even the daughter and of Rob and Michelle and sister of Nick told investigators at the time that her brother should be a suspect because he is, quote, dangerous, after she discovered her parents in the home unalive. Moving forward in the timeline, after this argument in front of the party, and I'm sure everyone was embarrassed, it was just uncomfortable, Rob and Michelle did leave the party. And this was the last time that they were seen alive. They went back home, and it's being reported now by the Daily Mail that Rob and Michelle were allegedly found in their bed with their throats cut, a discovery that suggests they may have been asleep when they were attacked. The source explained that the suspected sequence of events in stark terms, telling the Daily Mail, quote, he could have done it not long after they all went home, meaning he went there and slit their throats in the middle of the night. They added they were in bed when that happened. While the LAPD has not officially confirmed the exact location within the home where the bodies were discovered, the account has deeply disturbed those familiar with the case. The idea that the couple may have been killed off in their sleep offers a grim sense of mercy amid the brutality of the crime, this article states. This article goes on to state that for hours after the alleged attack, nobody knew anything was wrong because it happened in the middle of the night. But concerns were raised the following afternoon on Sunday when a masseuse arrived at the Reiner's $13.5 million Brentwood mansion around 2 p.m. and received no response at the door. Their daughter, Romy, who's 27, who lives across the street, reportedly went to check on her parents after the missed appointment. And she is said to have discovered the horrific scene and immediately called emergency services. The LA Fire Department later confirmed that first responders were dispatched to the home around 3:30 p.m. on Sunday. And of course, despite efforts to render aid, Rob and Michelle were pronounced deceased at the scene. Investigators now believe that the unalivings occurred sometime between the late hours of Saturday night and early Sunday morning. Now, I have more to go into, so I'm going to have to make a part 2 because it goes into where did Nick go to in regards checking into a hotel and what was found there, and then leading up to his arrest. So thank you for watching part 1. If you haven't yet, please hit the plus sign to the right to support my channel, and I will see you all in the next one.